So I'm going to talk a little bit about the book cover thing that we were doing in class today, just go back over that a little bit. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new document in Photoshop, and I'm going to choose inches over here. I'm going to go 6 by 8, and I'm going to go with pixels per inch, and I'm going to choose 72. Because that's the resolution of images I'll be getting offline, so it just lines them up a bit better. Any kind of professional work you would be using 300. Create my space. So I'm going to go to Chrome. I'm just going to recreate that Catcher in the Rye book cover we did today. So I'm going to say Times Square. Let's try vintage and see what comes back. This is the one, or similar enough. Yeah, that's the one. So I'm going to copy this back into Photoshop. I'm going to paste it in. So you can see that this image, since the spinning beach ball goes away, this image is wider than the image that I pasted it into. So I'm going to scale this, free transform, hold the shift key down. Newer version of Photoshop, you don't have to hold the shift key down to scale it. If you hold the shift key down and it's kind of loose like this, then you don't have to hold it. But if it's, you'll know, if it's not scaling clean like this, without the shift button, hold it down. Newer version of Photoshop, you don't have to do that. Okay, so I've scaled it. I press enter or return on my keyboard. I'm just going to see which part of this I want to use. So I might use this section here. It's actually a slightly different photo than the one I used earlier on, but this will do the job. So I don't want too much other text in it like this, kind of crowding it out. So I'm just going to make sure that I've got a version of it here that I like. So that's my background layer. That's my image. I call it Times Square. So as you can see over here, I've got a lot of these folders that I don't need. Even just taking out that libraries one changes a lot. I'm going to get rid of these ones. I'm going to put my layers up here. Get rid of these two. And it just makes my workspace a bit easier, a bit more space to work in. So next thing is I'm going to get my author's name. So this is a very dark image, so I'm going to go white text here from the start. So I'm just going to click once anywhere on the screen, and I'm just going to type in the author's name. I can highlight that, and up here I can either go into the preset sizes. Let's go a bit bigger. And I'm just going to position that there for a minute. And now I'm going to put in all lowercase. I'm not going to put any capital letters. So I'm going to choose Alt and drag, make a copy of that. Double click on the T over here. I'm going to call that Catcher. Back to my move tool. Now I can just make another capital or text layer in the, move that. Then I gotta choose text again. Right. So the reason why I put them all on different layers is I want to be able to move them separately from each other. So you can see over here it has Rye in the Catcher the. I'm just going to move those around so it kind of spells it out the way I want to. I don't want to have to remember that the is at the bottom of the stack of text. It just makes more sense that it's up there. You don't have to do it, but it's just my own OCD kicking in there. 3, 4. So I hold the shift key down, I've selected all 4 of those layers, and I can move them as one. But at some point I'm going to have them in a setup that I want, and I'll want to move them all at one. But if I put them in a folder now, down here, make a folder, we'll call this folder title. all of those text layers are in it because they were selected when I made the folder, so they go into the folder. So if I choose the folder, I can, hang on, now this is a good point here, right? There's a button up here called Auto Select. If you're on the Move tool, turn off Auto Select, and it just means that whatever is selected in the layers palette, that's what moves when you grab it. If Auto Select is on, even though I've got the folder selected, if I try and grab that, it'll kind of grab that on its own. I don't want that. I want whatever I've selected over here to be the only thing that moves. So if I've got the folder selected, I want everything to come with it. Then I can just go in individual layers, and I'm just going to start positioning these in there. And then right. So if I select the folder now, they should all move as one. So I'm just playing by eye here, and I'm just going to connect the Y in Rye physically to the D in Salinger. See the way that the tops of those join up there? And that's just something I spotted there. It's not any, with no intent there before I did this. So I gotta see, let's try a few other things. I'm gonna move Rye. Let that connect. I'm using my arrow keys here on my keyboard to physically connect them. I'm gonna go with Catcher. Oh, sorry. Catcher. And there. So I'm letting something from each line catch onto the next line. And if I go to Inda and Rye and move those over, the dot in the I vanishes into the or. That's something a bit more graphic designy. I could get that, nudge that over so that the H curves down into the T. That's starting to look a bit better. The catcher in, gap, the Rye. I don't know. It looks okay. I'm happy with it. So I'm going to go back to my folder, and I'm going to start moving that around and seeing where it works best. Might not want to connect it with Salinger anymore. So I might take Salinger, JD Salinger, and try that up there. And I'm going to double click the T in JD Salinger to edit it. And I'm going to choose a color for it. I'm going to choose something from inside the image itself. Some of these dark browns might be good. So just some visual way of connecting the color of the choice here. Just now it has a reason for being that color, So it's connected to this, It's a subtle thing, but it's not just white text or black text. It's color that's got purpose to it. All right, so let's say that's what I'm going with. Now I can take my folder for the title here. I've got a bit more room at the bottom here, so I can just maybe play around with that where that works the best. And I'm looking, and just by sheer look, I can see that there's a path here in the traffic where there are no cars on this side. That kind of works, I'm happy with that. All right, so File, Save As. I'm going to save this on my desktop in a new folder called Book Cover. So I'm saving it to a folder called Book Cover. I'm calling it Catcher 1. And I'm saving it as a PSD file. So there's my first version of it done. Okay. So I'm going to save this again straight away as Catcher 2. So far, Catcher 2 looks exactly like Catcher 1, but Catcher 1 is not being used at the moment. That's saved and ready to go. So let's go back to our Google Chrome search. I'm going to look for Holden Caulfield, who is who's the main character in this. Not a real person, but I just gotta look up and see some kind of versions of him there and see if there's what people have come up with. Let's try this guy. Going back here, I'm going to turn off this layer here, and I'm just going to paste in that picture. Now, already I like it, because I think our brains are geared to look for faces, right? So let's scale this down. I'm going to say Command T, or I can go Edit, Free Transform, see Command T, or Control T if you're using a PC. So I'm just going to shift and scale this to the same height as the thing I'm using. So I feel like this is working, except my title. That's not working. So I want to put him there like this. I've got my title page here. I'm going to select all of these layers, right? So when I select all these layers, you see I've got an option here where I can line them all up. I'm going to line them all up to the right. So you can see there that's done that. I'm going to place that there. See it's lining up with the top of JD Salinger there. And I am just going to give this a new color. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take the color of his hat. So, okay then. I've got an option here called swatches, right? Down here I can make a new swatch. Hang on. I'm going to come out of that. A new swatch based on that color. So I'm going to call this, hang on. Just go back to my layers, choose that. Okay. So in my swatches, I'm going to say new swatch. And we'll call this Catcher Red. See, it's added it in there, so now I can get it anytime I need it. So I'm going to go Catcher, swatches, there's Catcher Red, layers. Sorry, layers in the layers. Right. My mistake, excuse me. So let's take JD Salinger. And let's make him white. And the layer that he is on, let's drop him down to and line it up on his hat there. Yeah, I think there. But there's another one. Using the same basics principles, I'm going to say File. Actually, just going to save Catcher 2, save, yeah, replace it. Okay, so I'm going to turn off this layer again. I'm going to find another image. Now, in the book, he has a dream about being in a field of rye wheat. And he's trying to stop these children running through the fields and going off over the edge of a cliff that they can't see. I'm going to take this. Go back to Photoshop, Command V or Control V to paste. And I'm just going to get this. I already like it. It's so good. Brilliant. JD Salinger. Now that's a nice golden kind of book cover, you know. Let's go Catcher in the Rye here. And I'm going to line all of that up to the left. And I think I'm going to not have them connect so much there. Rye. So let's select all 4 of these layers. Now up here you can line them up to the top, the middle, the top. You can also distribute them, I think. This one. There you go. Now they're all evenly distributed. Even though some look closer than others, the gap between the T and the E, the shape it does is throwing the eye off a little bit. So I'm going to drop Rye down a little bit. I quite like that. That's good. Yeah, so let's save them. File, save as, Catcher 3. Okay. Let's take that image, Command T. Let's scale that right down because we've got a lot of image there to use. So Command minus will zoom out. Okay, I'm automatically going to save that now as Catcher 4. Okay, let's go out to our desktop and have a look at this folder that we've made, which is called Book Cover. And on the Mac, you can preview things like this. You just highlight them, press spacebar, and then you can see all 4 book covers that we made very quickly. So I don't know which I think I might like. I like this one and this one of the ones I've made. But you can see one piece of text, 2 pieces of text, and different image choices. You can get quite different approaches to it. So that's it. That's what I wanted you to do. An image and some well-placed text. And once you do that, everything has purpose. Everything you're using the space for this. So let's go back to Catcher 2 actually while I think of it. All right. So I'm going to take the folder that has Catcher in the Rye. I'm going to drop that down to there. I'm going to say Edit, Free Transform. I'm going to say I'm going to take that. So I'm going to separate the and Rye and just keep Catcher and in there as the 2 pieces that physically connect. Okay. So again, it doesn't have to be huge text, you know, you use the white space that's available to you, you know. I'll move that over there. And I'm going to line that text up, select those layers, line them up to the left. And JD Salinger. There you go. So with one image, a couple of pieces of text, you can get quite a lot of variations out of them, you know. All right. Thank you.